What up, everybody? Sorry about the slight delay there. You know how it is. Good to see you, and it's good to be seen by you. Welcome to the live stream. Welcome to the Tuesday Let's Play. And if you're new, if you're one of the 5,346 subscribers on the show now, first of all, thank you all very, very much for subscribing. If you haven't already, please do click the subscribe button and click the bell icon for notifications for information on about when these live streams start. But anyway, I'm glad you're all here. What we do, for you new folks' advantage, is every Tuesday night, we sit down to play a little first edition Advanced Dungeons and Dragons and let you folks sit in the gallery and watch in. Now, I started this as kind of an extension of how to play first edition AD&D. And, you know, it's just kind of grown into a campaign, something that you folks seem to enjoy a good bit. So guess what? We've just been keeping on. But listen, I don't want you to sit out there and feel like you're watching to no additional interaction, right? You know, look, this isn't some high budget thing you watch on Amazon.com or some passive thing that maybe the best you can do is buy merch or a campaign guide that you know will Kickstarter in a year or whatever. If you guys have questions about the rules, about the mechanics of first edition AD&D, then by gosh, ask us in the discussion, in the live chat. If I don't answer it, guess what? We have got a pretty darn knowledgeable audience who can probably catch that. But regards, hey, Wenger, thank you. Wenger says, super chat donations to vote for TPKs. Well, we'll just have to see what the dice do, right? But anyway, yeah, so Doom Sword will talk about your contract later on, my friend. But anyway, if you're wondering who I am, of course, I am the one and the only, the Dungeon Delver, and it is good to see you. It's good to be seen by you. And yeah, welcome everybody. So, we have our gamers are waiting in the green room. We're going to get started in just a couple of minutes. Michael Mertig, greetings. Does my AD&D mechanic overcharge me and ring up bonus services? Probably. I haven't seen a gold piece of it yet, though. So yeah, I'm still keeping my fingers crossed for that. But anyway, we're going to get rolling here in just literally just a moment to get to playing, and that's what's going to happen. Now, tomorrow night, of course, Kyle's out of town and we've gone crazy. Everything's on sale. No, tomorrow we're going to do a little bit of a deep dive. Tomorrow we're going to start digging in to the Saltmarsh series. No, I'm just kidding. Tomorrow we're going to start digging in to the L series. What people consider this a dark horse front runner in the best places to start your first edition AD&D campaign. And so we're going to take a look at L1 and L2. And those, of course, were penned by the late, great Len LaKafka. So tomorrow we will start that. And for those of you who want the U series, fear not. They are coming soon. But anyway, welcome everybody to the show. Now, one thing I'm going to warn you about, when I glanced over at my phone, my camera battery, which I use a rather robust power bank to run the show. I did note that it was kind of low, so I'm going to have to be keeping an eye on things. And if I have to run over and hook up an alternate power source, I will do that. Bonehill series. I'm not teasing you, Venger. It's coming. It's coming. Kinect is watching for the AD&D postage stamps. All right. Well, let us know. Yes, Clark L1 is in money. In fact, Gary was so taken with the Lendor Isles that he wanted them right off the coast of Southern Greyhawk. But, you know, we're gonna get into that history. Settle down. Settle down. We have other fish to fry tonight. Just got the YouTube notification. Yeah, I just my editing PC is over there. It's got a couple 27-inch monitors on it, and I just saw it pop up too. So I'm the guy who created this, and it's just now telling me that. So yeah, so we'll be jumping in to the game here momentarily, but regardless, guys, I'm glad you're here. And before we get going, of course, I want to remind you that this live stream is brought to you by our friends at Hellebarde Games. Hellebarde makes the kind of adventures they'd like to play, whether it's for Castles and Crusades, for 5e, or for the OSR. Old School is in play at the table with Hellebarde Games, and you can find them at their website, hellebardegames.com, or on Drive-Thru RPG. So the word tonight is snow, huh, Christopher? That's rough, buddy. That's rough. What was it? 50th anniversary. Oh, hey, thank you, Cornelius. I appreciate that. Awesome. Now, by the way, those folks who are patiently waiting for December's module, that is for the folks at the $10 backer level on Patreon or the $10 membership level. They're both called Master Thief. It's in the works. I promise. It's in the works. It's coming. And then January's, I will probably release December's and January's within just a couple of days of each other. And I thank you so very much for your patience with that. But anyhow, but someone was, Kinect was saying the 50th anniversary is the end of this month. It's actually President's Day, but I'm not going to get into that right now. What I am going to get into is I'm going to get into playing some first edition Advanced Dungeons and Dragons. Are you guys ready? I'm ready. So let's go ahead. Let me don me now my awesome headphones, and let's welcome in our crew, our group, our adventuring party. Everybody say hello to Doom Sword or Doom's Word Deathmaster, depending on how you feel about that, as Vroogdorn.
What's up, guys?
The man for which, if we had no standards at all, at least we would have Sir Standard. Everybody say hello to Thane Kyle.
Heyo.
It's Mark. He's Grimsby.
That's all you got to say.
It's like saying, the Xerox, right?
Exactly.
Everybody, give a big shout out to Kevin playing Marius, Esel, the magic user, and Papa of a brownie.
Yes, sir.
And if the party winds up holy, they better turn to somebody holy. Everybody give a big shout out to Mobius as Duran, the cleric.
Keeping on.
Oh, dear. I do believe that Mobius has a bit of an audio problem there. We are hearing a big hum from you, Mob. If you could wiggle your mic or something like that, and let us know back in the back room chat there once you've got that sorted out. So Let me make sure of something real quick. I've been pressed today. I've been pressed for time. Let's make sure that dice roller is up and working. And where is it? The dice tray. Here we go. Here we go. See if everybody sees this. Yay! All right, it's working. Okay. So, when last we left, our intrepid adventurers, you had departed from the keep on the borderlands, and instead turned south on your way to the seaside city of Blue. Last week, you'd gotten involved in combat against, I believe it was griffins, and you had
Hippogriffs.
Hippogriffs, that's right. I always get those confused. Hippogriffs. You had dispatched all but a couple that had fled away shrieking, and you had blooded your swords. And now that that's done, with some hippogriff stakes and feathers and other odds and ends, what do you wish to do?
About what time was that we fought them?
That was about midday.
Right, so we'll continue on and make camp.
Alrighty. Okay, so you make your camp there on the cold plains in the southern tip of the Pomarge. The wind blowing in off the sea and down from the Draken's Grab Hills make for some interesting fog. So it is a most damp evening into day. The days pass by as you journey along on the road, and you begin to see the occasional rude farm and somewhat maintained roads, indicating that this was once a place of law and order, but has now fallen under the sway of fell beings indeed. And it is after 4 days and nights of travel that you come to the outskirts of the city of Stonheim, a small city of perhaps 5,000. Its once proud walls, although still strong and resilient, are soot-stained and grimy. Various pennants indicating tribes of humanoids or bandit groups stand over tents and huts and yurts here and there on the outskirts of the town, while the hideous flag of the Pomarge, a terrible beholder, flies over the towers that occasionally break up the wall, the curtain wall around the city. There is a long avenue of folks waiting to enter the easternmost postern gate, which is accessible through a quarter of ramshackle buildings. Some of them look sturdier than others. There are ample men at arms here, patrolmen and such, moving up and down the line, questioning people, dragging some off, and so on. So, you have arrived at the city. What do you wish to do?
My character's actually from the Pomarge, although, I wouldn't say that there's... I would say that he departed the Pomarge at a very early age or whatever, but being a half-orc in general, is there anything that we or me know about the hostilities that might be present in this place towards, my fellow party members, or... obviously, as a half-orc, I think I could pass with less problems, but is this going to be a problem for the group?
No, because although the city is, well, it's not good. There is a modicum of law, brutal, strict, oppressive law, but law nonetheless.
All right. Well, gents, here we have it.
Well, follow your lead, Varuk. You know this place better.
Well, not really, but I'll try. I'll try to cover you. I would say if any of these guys tries to take your stuff, you're probably best off giving it to them.
Yeah.
Right. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I say we get in, get what our dearly beloved thief needs, and we get out if at all possible.
Yeah. I'm assuming they'll have a thieves guild here.
They'll definitely have that, I bet. I don't know how happy they are with gnomes. Halflings, gnomes, or whatever you are.
Well,
we midgets.
We'll see.
We'll just pick a bar back to the wall.
Okay, so again, there's a fairly long line of carts and such that are being inspected before the postern gate where you can enter. Obviously, patrols are moving in and out through other gates without any issue. But yeah, you guys have got a while to wait, and there's a goodly amount of farm folk there with their wares piled on various carts. In other cities, such times are times for barter, for gossip, for meeting one another. Here, there's just kind of quiet grumbling and suspicious stares between everyone, and ever-present beggars moving amongst. Please, sir, just one of your onions. I can boil it with a crust of bread and feed me family for a week, please. And so on and et cetera of the farmers, but there is little surcease given to these downtrodden folk there outside the gate.
Do we have any knowledge of the laws here and what we're bringing in? Do we need to worry about what our stuff is? I mean, look around and see if others are dressed similar, armored and weapons and otherwise.
Most of the folk where you are in the queue to enter the postern gate are not. They're mostly farmer types. You see the occasional pitchfork or farming implement come pole arm, plenty of belt knives, clubs, that sort of thing, but you don't see anyone who appears to be an adventurer.
All right, well, I suppose we'll continue to wait our turn. If there's an opportunity to kind of kick somebody when they're down or something like that to make a good appearance in front of a guard, I don't really have a problem with that.
Okay. All right then. So your wait isn't terribly long. You can see that there's a cart full of vegetables in front of you. There's sort of a high platform just to the left inside the gate. There's a surly looking fellow in red and black. Looks like some kind of an officiant. There's a very strong looking half-orc type standing next to him, and a group of lesser, and the half-orc barks out at the others, or barks out to a couple of the others. All right, lads, you know what to do. And they grab some they grab some sacks of vegetables off. The fellow behind the desk, really, that's mounted on the platform, leans forward and thumps an iron shod pole in his hand, lays it down, and says, "What do you bring at the time for the levies?" Well, if it pleases you, Accuser Grammel, we have had a rather poor crop because of the cold weather. You see, it's not good for the roots and tubers. And at that, the fellow stands up, and you realize he's a large dude. And his robes, he just kind of sweeps around, and standing on the platform, he is towering over this guy. He thumps the staff on the platform and points it at the guy. He just like holds it out at him and says, "Such like of farmers does not concern me. What do you have?" And the fellow, 8 bushels of carrots, discounting that which the town watch rightly availed themselves of course, 4 of potatoes, and of course we have onions, though those fared well. Unfortunately, there were no cabbages fit to bring. Beggar's trying to start a riot. There were no cabbages fit to bring. Frost killed all that I had intended to bring to trade, and of course the rest, we needed for ourselves. At that, this fellow just kind of jerks his hand and busts this guy right in his eye socket with the end of the shaft. He cries out in pain, groans, and almost falls out. There is a thin waif of a boy next to him, tow-headed, who grabs him and cries out, "Father!" And the one called Grammel looks at him and says, "Let that be a lesson to you. The time of levies means all is brought to the capital to be taxed. You are stealing from the overlord's larder. I will see you in irons." He gestures at the half-orc, who gestures at some of the other men, and they proceed to drag the guy off. So, you guys doing anything?
Oh, there, what's the hold up? Can't we get this moving? I've been standing in the sun all day.
The large half-orc steps over to the platform and glares down at you and says, "Silence! I do not know you, Outlander."
Listen, if it'll make it go quicker and you can keep your crops, I'll pay his way, whatever the difference. I thirst. I need strong drink, and I hear this is where we get it.
All right.
He said, "Oh ho! You'll pay his way. Oh, you'll pay all right, you maggot. 6 months in the hole for bad-mouthing a city official and interrupting civil duties. Lads, This one too. And Marius, your brownie whispers in your ear, I hate him, Daddy.
Yeah, I hate him too.
I'm
So how
going
many of
to cast a
these?
spell on him and make him stop.
Okay, yeah. How many of these officials are out here?
There's the one called Gremmel, who just probably destroyed that guy's eye. There are 10 men-at-arms, regular types. They have clubs, and they have short-hafted pikes. There is this one, who was addressed by name, Hruff, by Accuser Gremmel. So there's a total of a dozen. Sir Standard, your men-at-arms, one of your men-at-arms has kind of become the sergeant of the other three, just sort of leans in and says, what's our play here, sir?
Well, I presume, since our loving friends have decided upon this course of action, we shall make this place no longer hospitable to us and cut our way through a sea of blood.
Okay. So Vrug, you have a group of 5. They look like men, just rough, ugly men who are running down the platform because a couple have dragged this guy off to an iron cage that is behind the platform. So you got 5 moving towards you. Sir Standard, what are you doing?
I'm casting sleep.
You're casting sleep. Okay, Mark, what about Grimsby?
Grimsby's doing the traditional "I'm not with this guy" look that halflings always do.
I don't even know these a-holes.
Yeah.
All right. How about Marius?
I'm casting sleep as well. Screw these guys.
Okay. You hear your brownie start to Yancey start to utter magic words, so she's getting ready to cast a spell. Also, Mobius, how about Duran?
Duran speaks Borg.
Yeah. Mobius and the rest of the Cylons will do what? Just type it in the chat or in the back. Well, he's gonna hopefully be back. So we'll assume that he is readying himself for combat. The men-at-arms are drawing steel as well. Since it's going to be happening to you, Lux says, is this Gamma World? Since it's going to be happening to Vrug first, we'll just go ahead and start. If you would, Dooms, please roll initiative.
Or only after I say, rush in and die, dogs, as I cut an imposing figure.
All right.
Let's see if that...
You got a 3. Okay. So they're thrusting their pikes up at you, trying to grab you and hook you and drag you out of the saddle. But they're not being. This is not. Let's see. I have an 18 and a 19, so you're going to take some damage as they try and batter you off. How many hit points has Vrug got here? Because you're about to take 12 points.
41.
Oh, yeah. Ow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's still not a happy set of wounds there.
It is not. Baker says more super chat donations to increase guard. Okay. So, you get chopped a couple of times. Now Vrug may act. I should point out, Vrug, that these are 0-level militiamen. Do you know what that means?
I know what that means. Also, do I get a height advantage, being that I'm on higher ground than them?
No. I mean, it'd be one thing if you were standing up in the saddle and if you wanted to jump down on them, but yeah, no.
All right, it was worth a shot. I'll go one at a time on these guys.
Okay.
Just make sure I got the right thing here. There we go. All right, so this first guy's 15. It hits armor class 2.
Oh, you absolutely hit him.
All right, second guy. Hits armor class 3.
So yeah, you got him.
Third guy.
You hit him.
Hits armor class, yeah. And fourth guy, come on. Oh yeah, sweet. I hit each of them once.
So you got 4 out of the 5. Go ahead and roll your damage.
All right, that's going to be 1d8 plus 5. So first guy gets 13.
He is dead.
Sweet. Second guy gets 10.
He is dead.
Yes. Third guy gets 11.
He is dead.
And fourth guy gets 10.
He is
We didn't even get into town and we're already outlaws? Great.
We were going to be anyway.
I've been an outlaw since the day I was born.
The others hear this. They are rushing over with their pikes to try. They're going to stay up on the platform and try and batter at you. However, we have a sleep spell happening.
We have several.
We have a couple of sleep spells happening. Sir Standard, would you like to roll your sleep spell?
Sure. And I'm guessing, are these all still 0 level levies then?
At least the ones on the platform are.
So I'm rolling 4d4 then.
You are rolling 4d4.
All right.
And I'm seeing 10. They all collapse. Now from Marius, you actually give me a D4 roll. Give me a single D4.
Not hidden. Hey, I got a 4.
You got a 4. Gremmel and Ruck both also collapse with your sleep spell.
Hell yeah.
You see, you can kind of tell just a little tingle faintly as Yancey casts a spell, and just in your right ear there, you just hear this pouty, "Oh, fiddlesticks."
So, did they lock that farmer up in the cage, or he's just in the cage?
They threw him in the cage. You don't know if they locked it, but he got smashed in the eye pretty badly, so he's probably not going to be jumping up. And there are others in there too. And I should point out that from a few people, a ragged cheer goes up around you.
I'm going to ask Yancey to go let those people out of the cage if she can.
Okay. She climbs out of your hood, pops off your shoulder, and is running over there to do that.
I plan to run up to that. I'm sorry, his name started with a G. I think I'm going to run up to that guy and truss him up with some rope.
All right. So yes, that was Accuser Gremmel, whom
Gremmel.
you have up. He has a kind of a medallion around his neck that has the coat of arms of the city of Stonheim. You can see that it's grimy, it's crude gold. There's no image of the Pomarge on it, so probably when the Pomarge fell, this wasn't looted, or it was looted and brought back. But it looks like it A, needs to be cleaned up, and B, belongs around the neck of someone who is better. Is a better person than this. So yeah, you can tie him up easily. There are a few of the farmers who are rushing over and grabbing bushels of vegetables back out of a cart that was next to the two iron cages full of people.
Hold now. There are more important things to deal with.
Gents, do we want to force our way in and just kind of disappear into the town or into the city? Or are we thinking of leaving? What's the exit strategy here?
Well, first off, I want to hand this guy over and see if he's been good or bad. I mean, I think it's kind of late to get in undetected. It's also kind of late to leave. These hounds will be on our tail.
Yeah, Grimsby's turning his horse around and looking like, are there lots of troops coming at us? Is there escape routes in or out of the city?
You don't see where it's coming from, but you very clearly hear the blaring of a brass trumpet somewhere from along the city wall up above you.
If we're going to leave, we have to do it now, or we go in and try to hide.
I'm going to grab Grammel up by the hair.
Okay.
And pull him to his feet.
All right.
Here you are. Has he treated you justly?
Not a lot of people respond, but the ones who do are like, no!
What of him then?
Villain! He's kind of what? What is the meaning of this?
These are your farmers. These are your land workers. Only a fool would put himself in a position such as you have.
I will kill you. I will gouge your eyes. I will see you fat to crows. You peasant.
That'd be a neat trick.
DM.
These ruffians to untie me at once.
DM.
Yes.
While he is in the process of waking up and screaming, can I just go ahead and put my spear in his throat?
I mean, you absolutely can.
Much obliged.
Don't put that spear through my throat.
No, not yours. Not yours.
I mean, he's essentially helpless. So yeah, I mean, just thrust out. Ah! And another ragged cheer goes up.
I'll look at Vrug and I'll go, if you're going to kill him, kill him. If not, we need to leave.
Well, you already did that. I heard about the patience of elves.
Okay. Corrupt is kind of what he just sort of pushes himself up, but as he's doing so, he is being seized by the farmers near the edge of the platform.
He just got a promotion.
I tell him, I wipe the blood off my sword. We need to go into the capital.
This is no. No.
Well, hopefully the farmers will go, and we can follow them.
No. 5 farmers and a bunch of low-level NPCs is not a rebellion make room.
There's more than 5 farmers. There more had come up behind.
Okay.
It was a big line, right?
Yeah. Yeah. How many quote unquote supporters does Vrug have? That's the question.
There's a fair number of people cheering this on. I mean, there's a fair few, maybe a dozen folk or so, and there are others who have just kind of come up, dragging carts, carts on horses and so on, moving in closer. looking at this, and they're like, they're talking among themselves. Oh, the tyrant Grammel has fallen.
A dozen, a dozen farmers does not an army make. For pick your battles.
Yeah, let them in first. Grimsby, we got our way.
Let the farmers in first so they can be killed? Is that what you want?
Hey, this ain't my town.
That's
They feel he was.
Yeah, if you wanted them to
they're
die,
gonna follow us.
if you wanted them to die and keep your mouth shut next time, you would have died. We could have gone in.
All right.
I suppose we'll run away.
We have to.
You owe me several quaffs at our next stop.
Well, let's grab that farmer with a damaged eye. Maybe he can help us out.
And his kid.
Well, yeah, the kid's implied.
Grimsby's keeping an eye out. Like, are there soldiers coming at us?
Yes, there are.
Are they between us and the gates to get out?
They are riding out of the gates, and there are 2. Their QRF is 2, with a fellow in robes riding with them, riding to look out. They take a look at this scene of bloody destruction. And they sort of murmur amongst themselves, and the fellow in the robes points at your party and says, "Who is responsible for this?"
I think
he is. Yeah, we both point at Grandma.
What does he look like? Is he human?
The fellow in the robes, he also has red and black robes on, forked beard, no mustache, jet black receding hairline. He's close enough you can see he's like the tips of his fingers are blackened with ink or something like that. So he's
a target for charm person.
I'm sorry.
He's a target for charm person.
He might be. That's entirely up to you.
I think he is.
Okay. DM, is he within range of a stinking cloud?
Out of doors, absolutely.
Cool.
Hey, maybe we could parlay with him and still make it into the city.
Just in case, I want to, because okay. So, second question: if I were to put a stinking cloud in the middle of the archway between us and them, so they'd have to ride through it, right? Yeah. Would that work? Is the archway small enough for that?
I mean, you would significantly block off a portion of the archway.
That's all I'm looking to do is buy us time if we have to run. Okay. I'm not casting, but I wanted the information.
Okay.
Well, I'm casting. Screw this guy.
You are casting. Okay. First of all, let me see here. When he sees you start to raise your hands up, he is not surprised. He looks at the 2 guards. He looks at the scene. Well, I already rolled a 67, so he's not acting hostilely. But let's go ahead and roll initiative. How many segments is Charm Person?
I'm looking it up right now.
And by the way, Vaughn's concerned. You think it's 6? Vaughn's concerned about the party being murder hobos. Trust me, Stoneheim is a city of lawful evil. It is in the hands of the government of the Pomarge. This is
actually it's 1 segment for casting time.
It's 1 segment casting time. Okay.
Nice.
So next in line to roll initiative then is Thane. Please roll a d6.
Absolutely. It could be worse. Not much worse.
3. Okay. Damien. So anyway, I started casting.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm. All right. All right. So I'm going to need saving throws for Vroog, for Grimsby, for Sir Standard. Marius, you do not need to throw a saving throw. So
Okay.
Save the spells, I presume.
save the spells.
Awesome.
Mother.
This is at a +3 for me, and I can't read that die. What is this? 8. That's a +3. I got an 11. I failed.
Okay.
Why is that blank?
You rolled.
I don't know.
There's a hidden button. You got to roll the.
Yeah, I think you must have hit the hidden button.
And it's in the middle of the screen instead of the left when you want.
Okay. Vrug, did you roll for Vrug yet?
I'm going to roll now. I want to say that I did. Well, let me roll first. That's going to miss regardless of whether I've adjusted my saving throws. That's a fail.
If it matters,
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
if it matters, I'm 90% resistant to sleep and charm spells.
It is not a charm spell. You and Grimsby and Vrug are held. He was focusing on you guys, not. Although spread across 3.
Yeah, don't
Actually, it's a normal saving. It's a normal saving throw. So yeah, you guys are under the effect of hold. Charm person. Let's give this guy his saving throw.
Need a fail on that.
He does fail his saving throw, and he kind of stops and regards you and says, I suspect there is some trickery afoot, but you look like an amiable enough fellow. Perhaps you could tell me, friend, what is the meaning of this?
We were just coming in to get in the city, and that guy over there, and I point to the guy with the spear in his throat. I said he decided to accost us, and we had to defend ourselves. And that's what's transpired.
Okay. He turns and regards the farmers for a minute and says, you folk, tell me, were you being treated fairly by Gremmel? Fear not. My ally is amongst these brigands. Speak truthfully. And it's at that point that a good number of the farmers kind of offer up their tales, and very meekly, just the same. They talk about, one by one. One says, "We understand that it is the lawful order of our people to render unto the overlord. What is the overlord's? But Gremmel was taking part of our crops on top of that, and any who resisted, well, look at poor Funkin. He was blinded. He merely tried to explain to Gremmel that 'twas a bad season for cabbages, and indeed it was." And it's that kind of goes on for a few minutes, and he strokes his beard and regards you and says, I did tell Gremmel that such behaviors, skimming off the top, would lead to his downfall. Are any of you peasants responsible for this? Did any of you partake in this rebellion? You there. Release Ruff. Yes, release him. Wake those men up. Ruff, what happened here? It was Grammel. He ordered us. He told us he had authority to take more from the peasants. I disagreed with him, but I wasn't going to go against the overlord's orders if they were true. So there's a lot of this going on, and finally this fellow holds his hands up and says, "Silence! It is clear to me now. Grammel had descended back into that banditry, into that wicked behavior that will eventually cause the fall of the Overlord's kingdom if we are not all very careful. While I cannot abide the slaying of an appointed member of the Overlord's guards, if he attacked you, as these people say he did, and that's true, correct, Ruff? Then by the Overlord's order of street justice, I would say he spared the hold a trial and a hanging. Now, all of you, form an orderly line. I will send for another accuser and have him continue to measure your levies properly and in a lawful manner. As for you, my friend, what would you have me do with your allies? Although I am loath to free them."
Well, they didn't have a choice. He was trying to drag Vrug to put him in chains, and he had attacked him. He had no choice but to defend himself. So I maybe we just need to accept that this is the consequence of what I would call a very hasty and unfriendly act against the citizenry. I mean,
yes.
maybe a proper fine would be acceptable in place of something so significant and unwarranted as being taken prisoner.
Very well. For the rough justice of killing an accuser of the Overlord himself, I hereby find what is your friend's name?
Vrug?
I hereby find Vrug on the spot 150 golden ducats, payable immediately.
I was the one that stabbed him. I'll pay the fine.
Yeah, but we're still held.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
And I figured they might, given his history, they might be a little more friendly to him than you.
That's also valid. as I'm holding a spear that's kind of currently dripping with that man's blood.
Yeah. You had to remove it. You were trying to help.
Indeed.
So, I say he's more than willing. Obviously, though, you're going to have to release him so he can pay his due.
All right. He snaps his fingers. The stiffness leaves your limbs immediately, the three of you. Yeah, you were all able to see and hear this as it went on, by the way. So there's no,
So what is this I'm paying for?
Your mom's chest hair, Vrug. Now pay the man.
You were
Man, I ain't even got a mom. Look, all I seen was your guy attacking your people who provide this place with foodstuffs. He attacked him. I told him, hey, listen, there ain't got to be a problem. I'll toss you a few gold, whatever you calls them. I got mines from somewhere else, so I don't know. But I figured I'd pay his way, and then they tried to come and put me in shackles. That ain't happening. I'd rather die. So what am I paying for? Fixing your problems.
You are paying the penalty for executing a member of the Overlord's order.
Yeah, whatever. I got your money.
Very well.
Yeah, I'll dig out 150 gold and give it to this guy.
Okay. Okay.
I'll make sure to put that back in the party stash so he isn't bearing the burden alone.
Okay, so it's at this point. It is at this point that some other city officials have arrived, and this fellow turns and explains how his best friend and his best friend's retinue was accosted by the now dead Grammel, and that Grammel was using his position of authority to rob from the peasantry, who really should shut up and know their place just the same, but still, he shouldn't have accosted his best friend's retinue.
Nepotism.
Nice work, Marius.
He beams at Marius.
I make sure he knows that I'm very pleased and that my friendship was warranted with such a person.
Hey, Marius. Maybe the guy can tell us what's a good hotel to stay in.
Yeah, I was just gonna say maybe you guys should get a room, or maybe we should get a different room.
Now, look, we don't need any of that horny bard shtick. I've already told people this isn't like Critical Role.
I could make sure to arrange for the rest of you to get a certain room as well. You know, maybe one that's not as nice, but yeah. So I say, so is this ordeal resolved? We're good to go forward and act as perhaps as if it's been handled.
Oh yes, of course. And if it is an inn you seek, there is the Wanderer's Rest. It is just within the city gates, perhaps 5 buildings down. It will be on your left.
That sounds amazing. Well, I'll make sure to let them know that we come at your request.
Greets Denny. Thank you for stopping in. Yes. Well, thank you, my friend. Thank you so very, very much. It is good to see a fellow member. I take it by your robes. You're a member of the Mages Guild?
Yeah, of course. Absolutely.
All right. It is good to see a fellow member of the Mages Guild here in this somewhat benighted place. Okay, so all this has been resolved in about an hour. Do you guys, as you enter the town, someone had mentioned bringing this farmer and their child with you? Are you still doing that?
I don't think so. I think that was what we were fleeing.
Yeah.
We're not fleeing. We're staying the night at least.
Yeah, there's no point. Best we can do is set the farmer free.
Okay.
Yeah, now that we've figured out that there's at least some sort of law that will be applied to this particular situation, hopefully not corrupt, I'm fine with whatever. I didn't care about them anyhow.
Yeah. Let's free the kid. I can't do anything for his eye, but at least I can give him a gold piece for the road and tell him Godspeed.
Alrighty.
Does Yancey have anything she can do to help him?
That you know what? That is a fine question. For those of you who don't know, Yancey is a brownie in the familiar of Marius.
I'm also going to ask Yancey the favor of trying to figure out what this Wages Guild is that I need to be a member of. So, this is the first I've heard of it.
Ugh, aren't all you mages part of a guild? You have your little
Apparently
meetings,
not.
funny hats, rituals, and such.
I wish I was
Well,
invited.
I mean, everybody but me, as far as I'm sure. I mean, I'll look over and see if my fellow caster also has heard or been a member.
Yeah, but we can start our own. How about that? They didn't see fit to invite us, so let's invite ourselves.
Okay, that sounds all right.
I'm starting a drinking guild.
Can we be part
Liver
of that as
failures
well?
are us.
Can you have more than one guild membership? These are rules I need to understand better.
Oh, yeah. For sure. We welcome them all.
Okay. Yeah, no, she can't cast any sort of healing on the fellow's eye.
Okay, well then he'll just have to take it for the team, I guess.
And Duran, what happened with him? Can he just throw out a token heal, or did he
He's gonna cast a cure light wounds, which will at least stop the bleeding, stop the pain. But yeah, unfortunately, the fellow is still blinded in one eye. Oh, thank you, Noriochi. Thank you very much. We aim to please around here. So, so yes, you guys are riding into the city. It is very crowded. You occasionally pass criers, usually accompanied by someone you suspect may be part of the town watch, wearing the black and red robes, and is yelling out, "Tax season! 'Tis tax season! Do not forget your levies! At the main gate, tax season!" But it is your typically crowded city. Yancey is literally holding her nose, and she's, "I don't like it in here, Papa. I want to go back out in the woods."
For Yancey, we're not staying.
What's this Papa? What's this thing you guys got going on?
It's a familiar and caster relationship. It's quite tame. Don't worry.
Well, at least you didn't get a frog, I guess.
No.
The frog would have been tasty.
Yancey like whispers into your ears. It's just barely audible. "I'll turn him into a frog."
Can we eat him?
Hey, I've heard those frogs get big enough to eat you. So you gotta be careful.
So, as you guys are nearing the inn, there is there's a fellow. He's a broad-brimmed hat, white feather in it, riding silks, jod furs, boots, swagger stick, the whole 9 yards, and a group of four others sort of standing in a loose semicircle around him, just watching you guys as you walk by, and he tips his hat. "A fine bit of revolutionary activity, if I do say so myself. Gremmel finally got what so many people said was coming to him. Not since the very fall of the Pommage has there been such a humorous act. I salute you, you magnificent bastards."
Who are you?
"Oh, my name is Thornwald the Fifth. My father's father, his fathers, and so on, etc. We're landholders here in the Pomarge, but as I'm sure you can see, property values ain't what they used to be.
Yeah, so where'd you get that drink you've been drinking?
He points at you and kind of elbows the guy next to him. You see what I mean? They'll let carnivorous apes ride horses straight into the city.
God, is everybody an asshole?
I'm sorry, but that was funny, Mobius. Just the earnestness with which that came out. That was amazing.
I missed it. The DM missed it. I mean, if you don't want me to have heard it, that's fine.
Why don't you show me where the drink is? Show me what's good around here. I'll buy around for you and your boys.
All right, the men kind of smile, sort of amusedly, glancing back and forth amongst themselves. And he kind of turns his nose up and says, he looks at the rest of you and says, I don't care for a trained ape. Make it do a trick. Make it dance. He reaches inside his coat, pulls out an ippy, and immediately sticks it in a wooden post. And he's like, Kunk.
So these guys.
And he's trying to. He is, by the way, right in front of the Wayriders in there.
Bill,
Yes.
I love you, and I typically don't try and correct you, but I am going to do in this one instance. Epee.
Epee, thank you.
You're welcome.
Now there's going to be a bunch of flying monkeys. See what you've done.
Well, have at whatever you're doing then.
As it happens, the pillar was a mimic. Its eye opens. It looks straight at Sir Standard and wrenches itself loose to attack him. No, I'm just kidding.
I say
So-
we
It ain't worth the time to cleave the skull that sits upon your shoulders.
He draws himself up, adjusts his cravat, and says, I don't have to take that out of you. Men, show him what I'm made of.
Go ahead and show me.
5 buildings.
Man.
We made it 5 buildings before bullshit happened. 5 buildings. I just noting that on my pad here.
Well, this guy's a dick, though.
Oh, no question. He deserves everything he
But
gets.
He suspects his name is Richard, YouTube.
if
Right.
if
Exactly.
we go around beating the living out of every. By the way, YouTube does have new new swearing regulations, which do not demonetize you for swearing. Just so you're aware.
Okay.
I don't know why they changed that, but they did. But at this point, if we go around beating up every rich prick that is somehow a turd, we're going to have to murder half the city.
They keep attacking me.
Now,
It's going to be more than half. I hate to say it.
I'm going to be a little bit expedient here, and I'm going to burn my second sleep spell and stop this combat before guards show up.
Okay. I would point out that the men at arms standing around him are just kind of laughing. They haven't drawn swords or anything.
Okay. If they aren't going to pick a fight, then
They haven't slapped leather. They've noticed that you've got a big spell on your hip. And so, yeah, one of them just leans down and says, "This little one's not worth the effort."
No, not at all. Yeah. How about an arm wrestling match? And if you had the stomach for that, 50 gold says I win. Over drinks, of course.
Well, very well. Lead on.
So we can make our way into the inn?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And it is there's a pretty motley group in here. There's sleeping rooms and so on, and it is early enough in the day that it's not rowdy or boisterous, but yeah, there's a fair collection. There's a group of like 6 goblins sitting at a table. You can very, very clearly see they're laughing and tittering amongst themselves. And outside, you did see a couple of gnolls actually further up the street from where you were.
Was there a good place to park the horses that seemed like they wouldn't just get taken, or their wheels taken? I mean, they're blocks.
You guys come out. Your horses are up on blocks.
They stole the horseshoes.
But anyway, so your at the inn. This is the inn where you were directed by the mage who was leading the patrol. I've never seen. Oh, that was terrible. It was terrible. I was like, oh, cool. This is going to escalate. City dungeons, and not the good ones full of monsters and loot for these guys. Nope, 2 guards.
2 guards and a favorable reaction roll I saw.
2 guards, a favorable reaction roll, and you charmed him.
Yes.
Although eventually that will wear off, and he's going to be pissed.
Yeah, we need to get the hell out of here.
We aren't. Yeah.
We need to assess his intelligence. I don't know if we could get a good idea of that.
Okay, so anyway, here there is a stable boy that you can pay to take your horses to the stable.
Sounds good.
Should I do it? He points at the brownie and goes, "We don't serve your kind here. Your brownie. It'll have to wait outside." No, he does not do that. Yeah.
We have done the "I don't like you either" though, so it's not that far off.
I have the death sentence in 12 kingdoms.
Do you know what that music is actually called in Star Wars?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. We were having this discussion on Twitter just this afternoon.
That is horrible.
Yes. Thanks, George. And I'm sorry, you're not convincing me that it's it was just kind of a fun name I thought of. No, you know what that meant, George. All right, so you're at the inn. There's motley folks around. There's tavern wenches serving. There is an innkeeper standing behind a long wooden bar, and he kind of sees your group come in as, yes, please, come in. You in the robes, your child too. Yes, please do come in.
I'm going to look over at Grimsby and be like, he has a beard.
What?
I believe they were referring to you as the child. And for some odd reason, I imagine Grimsby with a beard. I don't know why, but I do.
Halflings generally are beardless, but Mark, if you want to have a beard, that's fine. All right.
He has a beard on his feet. You into feet over there, elf?
Hey, make big money online.
Feet pics. All right. So, I have a couple of very finely graduated steel rulers, and I have 2 of them. I took a picture of them and share them on Twitter periodically, and just say, "Hey guys, feet pics." So,
I asked the bartender what is the strongest stuff he has. I'm going to buy it for Vroog.
Young lady, I don't think I can sell you anything without your father's permission.
Very well. Let's try that again. Ahem. What's your strongest stuff? And I'm going to buy it for my friend here. Fruit.
All right. Oh, my apologies. Well, I have some. I have certain libations. Let's see your coin first.
I plop down a couple gold piece on the bar.
He kind of laughs and says, "That's a pitcher of good stout, my friend."
I put down a couple more gold pieces.
A fine bottle of wine or two.
A couple more.
I'll tap a cask just for you lads.
And then I give him double that. Make sure the big guy there is happy. So I put down 12 gold pieces total on the guy.
He walks over to a previously unopened cask and hammers a tap into it and starts pouring and setting up wheat beers for you guys. But it's good, and it's cold too. Not ice cold, but it's cool.
Nice.
All right.
Cool.
He sweeps the coins. Do you hear them clank into something metallic and a pronounced click? So they probably went someplace fairly safe. So, the fop and his coterie have followed you in, and the largest of them says, "Well,
Deep subject.
I believe you wanted to test your strength."
Oh, yeah. Here, let me hammer this first.
But of course.
Take one of them drinks and slam it, whatever.
All right. Okay. What is Rug's strength?
I believe it's 1875.
1875.
Yes.
Okay.
Nice.
Give me a Ben Bar's lift gauge roll. This is not a win lose. We're just looking for the score that you get. So percentage.
Sure.
All right.
53.
So 53.
And I have a strength of 17, and my Ben Bar's lift gates is only 13%.
And a 60. It is a near thing. It is a very, very near thing. He gets you, and then that half orcish strength kicks in, and he brings it back and forth, and finally, you beat him fair and square in an arm wrestling test. During this whole thing, because it takes a long stretch, there is a multitude of people who've gathered round to kind of watch this as it's all going on. Let's see. All right, so you win. He claps you on the back and says, "Well played," and he gladly pays your coin.
Well done, man. That's the hardest I had in a long time.
I'm not touching that. I'm not touching that. I'm not touching that. I'm not touching that.
I'm not touching that, not touching that thing.
All right.
Well, you're talking about funny business again.
Well, we watched your nonsense at the gate, of course, seeing Grandma finally get his was certainly satisfying, but unfortunately, in a send night or two, someone just as bad will be shaking down these farmers just as bad. That's the way of the world.
Yeah, of course it is. We're just passing through, though. You hear anything around here? Anything interesting?
Oh, the usual. If the orcs can get it together, and if the hobgoblins can stop getting seasick, Pomars will spread up the wild coast and take all the cities and conquer all and gut Greyhawk from the south.
And let me be a little more direct. Where does one go to find coin?
If it's work you're looking for, there's no end of working for the brute squads to shake down the peasantry if the idea of scraping together 20 or 30 copper pieces on a daily basis is your idea of justice. His Majesty, and he kind of thumbs at the lightly snoring dandy that they accompanied in here, he has a small plot of land, but with all respect, he has enough household guards. I should point out...
Yeah, fair enough.
This guy that you're talking to is a seasoned campaigner. He's missing the tip of a pinky. Couple of scars on his chin. His sword, just by the hilt, you can see it is very exceptionally well worn. Like when he touches it, it probably just is like a part of his hand, but it doesn't look like anything special. Just all the telltale signs of a serious fighting man. He says, it's a lineal thing. My family has served his for generations, and I don't want to see him lose his head by mouthing off to, well, not Grandma anymore.
Drink up, man. I return to my flagon or whatever.
All right. There is a fellow who approaches you a few minutes later with steepled fingers and says, 1,000 pardons. You must forgive me for eavesdropping. You see, such interesting folk as yourself are rarely seen in these parts. Did I understand that you're currently looking for work?
I'm currently looking into this beer. But my buddy's here. Hey, they run the show.
I see.
What sundials are you selling?
The wit and wisdom of elvenkind, always appreciated. No, you see, I require individuals with a particular set of skills, something that you yourselves may well possess. And I was wondering if perhaps a lot of you might be interested in engaging in a bit of work for myself and interested employers. I should point out this fellow, he's tall, kind of broadly built. He has an eye patch, so he's missing an eye.
He doesn't have to be black with white hair and a big floppy hat, does he?
No.
Good. Okay.
They're more guidelines. 'Twas him I would be talking more like this, but I follow your lead.
I was thinking Jarlaxle Bay Henry, but that works too. What are the terms?
Well, that depends on whether or not you're interested in the work I'm offering.
I wouldn't be asking terms if I wasn't interested.
This place here is a bit open, don't you think? I'm renting a house just a couple of blocks away. It's on Farthing Street.
Okay, nature of the work involved: retrieval, delivery, removal. Give me a vague clue before I walk in your door.
Acquisition of information.
No questions asked.
Well, just what information you might have acquired.
Okay. Body counts.
I have need for individuals of a certain set of skills, and by my observations, he kind of looks you all over with your weapons and such. You may all possess those very skills, and as far as any who get between you and something I might want or need, well, that's how you choose to overcome such difficulties are entirely up to you.
All right, gents. Do we want to at least hear them out?
Yeah, I think we'll hear him out. I just want to remind you that this city is full of a-holes. So
You notice.
we should probably be really extra vigilant.
Agreed.
So we can at least make sure we get to the point where we actually get to do the job.
Agreed. Well, I will happily, well, not happily, but I will follow. I will let him lead and we can follow, most assuredly. But if we agree to meet, it may not be within the walls of this lovely establishment again.
I'm sorry. The dungeon master is not following what you're saying. I apologize.
In other words, if we agree to this, chances are we will not be meeting them within the walls of the city again. We will not be welcome for a return visit.
Of course.
I'm making that very clear to him that, you know, we're here now. We won't be here next week.
Okay.
Grimsby says that if you all want to go talk to this guy, go talk to him. I'm going to see if I can. And Grimsby's looking around to see if anyone of his persuasion is around. His professional persuasion is around. And I need to make some contacts.
That's D6 persons.
Yeah.
All right. So
that's it. Only D6 persons. Jeez.
I ain't going nowhere without me cask. I'm waiting for this place to liven up.
I'm sure we can find Tim somewhere.
All right. So, Sir Standard, you're going. Vrug, between Grimsby, Marius, Standard, and these four guys, that cask didn't last long.
Well, damn, let's have another. Keep them coming, barkeep.
Okay. Alrighty. He will tap you one up. And that is going to cost. How much did Grimsby pay for the first one, Mark?
12 gold pieces.
12. That will be another 12 gold pieces, Brug.
Alright, fair enough.
Alright. Despite their ugliness and brutishness and general bad demeanor, the captain of this fellow, who they are trying to sober up by giving him small beer and cider, proclaims you to be a fine fellow indeed. And so the day wears on. Sir Standard, are you he kind of regards your group and says, are you sure that just you alone wish to come?
I'll bring Chauncey and her human driver with me, as well as the man at arms.
Very well.
That is, of course, Mobius. If you are willing to join me.
I think you mean Kevin.
Yep. Sorry. Why do I always
Yeah.
do that? Yes.
Yeah.
I
Kevin.
don't know. I was gonna be. I'm like, is he sitting in the? Is
No.
the Mobius in the room with us now? Thane?
Well, actually, if I can bring Mobius with us, if I can bring the cleric with us as well, ideally I will. But
is
I'm not going to speak
strangely
for him.
He is strangely silent, but let's see. You know what? I think in this case, as he is an NPC, we will reaction roll on what does he think of this fellow.
I taught him to get drunk.
He's staying with Drew.
Okay.
Somebody might need to patch you back together when you have to cut your way out of this guy's house.
I mean, yeah. If we have to do that, then yeah, I'm definitely seeing that as a possibility. But we'll see.
Okay, so on behalf of all dungeon masters everywhere, thank you for splitting the party.
You're welcome.
And TK, if your characters get shanghaied, then bon voyage.
Sorry.
Have a nice boat ride.
Indeed.
That'll be neat considering you guys are like 90 miles inland. All right. So we'll come back for some random encounters for those of you in the tavern in just a few minutes. Marius, Sir Standard, Men-at-Arms, and Marius Yancey is going nowhere. She is standing right on your shoulder.
Okay.
At least we have her
blending into your robe. She insists you have a greenish brownish robe, and she can practically blend into it. You follow this fellow. It is now late afternoon as you are moving along, and yeah, he kind of walks along with you and says, "Yes, normally I hate to do business here in the city, but it's often, it's often the best place to find employment. You know, I would travel to the city of Greyhawk, or perhaps to Blue, but it's a cold season, and I'd rather stay by a warm hearth if I can help it." You just idle prattle as you're going along. Let's see. You guys have an encounter along the way? Oh, well, let's see what that is.
It's going to be the prostitution chart.
Not on a 7, I don't think.
I think is that a 7 or a 1?
What's
it's a 7.
That's a 7.
It's 2d6 liches.
Like 2d6
Okay.
liches plus 1 beholder.
Yep. It's 3. What were they? It's 3D4 menageries. There we go.
And Nicodemon is out walking his pet vampire.
As long as if it picks up after the vampire, it's fine. Keeps it on the leash.
When I was a kid, and all I had was the that's not the die I wanted. All I had was the Fiend Folio and the some other various bits and bobs. And I would read this chart, and it was like demon or Nicodemon, devil or mezzodemon. I didn't have the GDQ series when I was a kid, nor did I have a Fiend Folio. So I was always like, oh, what are those things? I want to know. No, a couple of better...
internet.
No, I can just Google, what is a Nicodemon? But you're accosted by a couple of beggars, and that's it. Do you give them any coin?
No.
Please, sir, please. Just a bit of food, sir.
Alms for the poor.
Yeah.
You've got 2 arms and a heartbeat.
I'll act like I don't hear them, and if they keep pestering me, then I'll say something.
They realize after a bit that you're not giving anything. So the fellow that was hobbling alongside with a sign that says lame flips it over and it reads blind. And he kind of rolls his eyes up and pulls out a rod and starts tapping it on the ground. Alms for the blind, please, alms for the blind. All right, so it's a fairly well-appointed 2-story house, kind of narrow. Lower story is stone, upper is wood. Here we are. Not the best district, but then what can be these days? He puts a rather elaborate key in the lock, turns it, curiously passes his fingertips over the door, and then opens the knob. Please.
I'm going to make sure pay attention to what he just did in case
Okay.
I need to do it again.
He sort of passed his fingertips over the door.
Okay. So he's trying to get the high score on Tetris. Okay. Well, I guess we'll follow him in. I'm going to, before entering, I'm going to look around outside here and see if I see anyone skulking around.
No, you do not see anyone skulking about.
Okay. So, yeah. It doesn't look like we got a party behind us.
Okay. You step in, he closes the door, and he says, just over into the sitting room.
Yes.
I point over that way. Is that what you're talking about? Which?
Yes.
Okay.
Just there.
Okay. Well, I'll look around carefully as I walk in. What kind of place are we in?
It's a comfortably but modestly appointed room. The house in general, I mean, it's not decorated in any one particular way or the other.
Alrighty. I'll keep an eye on any exits.
Okay. There's an opening that leads to what you think is a small dining room in the back. There's the entry you came into this room, and then on the left-hand side, there's an opening to what you think is the hall that you saw when you walked into the entrance. Mm-hmm. Walking in through there is a fellow who's dressed predominantly in blacks and grays. The gentleman that you've been walking with sits down at a table, and the fellow who walked in says, "Are these the ones that raised the ruckus at the gates?" And Eye Patch nods and he flips it out of the way. I forget how that thing is sometimes. You're quite the instigators and troublemakers.
Not intentionally.
Are we now?
Yeah. Well, be that as it may, you're the first people that have had the look that have ridden through here, at least since the fall of the year. I apologize for the imposture back at the end. I think your fellows should be okay. My name is Geller, and this is my associate Gord. We have been dispatched to try and find a group of individuals with a certain set of skills who can help put a stop to an ongoing problem. How familiar are you with the Pomarge and the Wild Coast?
Not a lick.
Yeah, I just showed up here today.
I see. Well, since the Pomarge fell, the amount of slavery that's been going on here has gotten out of hand. The local lords up and down the coast have been paying ransoms and receiving nothing in return. The protection money that they've been paying for seasons and seasons has gone by the wayside. And quite frankly, any guff or any nonsense you hear about the Wild Coast falling to forces from the Pomarge may be closer to reality than any of us would like to think. And I need someone, not through force of arms, although your own force of arms is fine. The petty lords are busy watching their own backs up and down the wild coast. The syndics and Greyhawk are interested in trade and trade alone. No, there's a problem right now, and it needs attending to. Perhaps 2 years ago, maybe less, we dispatched a group to investigate it. We never heard back from them. But finally, we've gotten a bit of information. An escaped slave has been able to bring us a little bit of critical information. One of the hidden slave markets is located in a city just further up the coast to the north, a place called Highport. Did you ever hear of it?
No.
How many Bothans died to give us this information?
I'm sorry?
Never mind. Go on.
I have not heard of Highport.
I know of it, but it's not much better than here. It's hardly any more civil than here. It's filled with cutthroats, thieves, orcs, more orcs, and as far as I was concerned, slavers mostly.
It's a lot worse than here. Believe me, it makes this place it makes this place look like high folk by comparison.
And you want us to go in to one of these dens?
I have some information that can take you straight to the slave market and allow you to infiltrate it. However you see fit, find the information that you can. And hopefully we can knock these slavers back on their heels, put them in their place. The whole Pomarge and this end of the wild coast is very near to crumbling apart. And if it does, it could weaken the entire soft underbelly of the Flayanus. And if the bandit kingdoms, Ayus, and worse, see an opening, the darkness that could start to spread could envelop us all. So, I'm looking to hire you. Any treasure that you take is yours. I won't put a levy on it. And my employers will do their best to make sure any lords or petty officials don't touch whatever you make.
The issue isn't making. The issue is what do we do once we have the information? Chances are we may end up having to cut our way out. We're going to have zero support, zero backing.
Well, as far as that goes, I have a few contacts, but do you know of the city? Fortunately, it is north of, it's further enough north of Highport that there's relatively little activity of slavers or pirates or whatnot. It's a place called Barnacus. Have you heard of the city?
Nope.
It's probably one of the last bastions of law and order that they haven't been able to topple. I have offices and agents there. Once you have this information, if you can make your way there, you'll get whatever reward we can give you.
I don't care about reward. I just care about that. Like, we can't stand. Like, just to be clear here, we're here for providing information. We're not here to wipe out an entire organization of slavers. That's a small army's work.
No, I understand.
Okay.
I completely understand. Get us that information, and we'll proceed at pace.
Okay, so I guess, well, let's start with what do you want to know? You know, are you just looking for someone to scout the place? Are you looking for, numbers of occupants inside? Are you looking for troop movements? What do we want here?
Well, what we were able to learn from the escaped slave is that the slavers are exceptionally well organized. They keep records. They have outposts. We'd like to get our hands on those records and maps, anything you can provide that can be helpful to us. And if you have any requirements before you go, be more than happy to assist you as best we can. I'm not just sending you off on some wild goose chase where you don't make it too bad. Believe me, I'm not just trying to use you as cannon fodder. What you accomplished at the keep on the borderlands, word has gotten around.
So we're supposed to get these slave records from, give me the name of that place again, and take them to where?
Highport. And then you bring them up the coast. You'll bring them just a short distance up the coast to Barnacus.
Okay, what aid can you offer us in getting in? Disguises? Can you bring someone with us that already knows these people?
The escaped slave was able once they were healed through magical means, they were able to provide a detailed map of the area around the slave pits. You can attempt to you can basically try to disguise yourselves and get through the front gate. He escaped through a secret way in the back. Apparently, it's in a burned out temple.
I don't fancy this group's chance of disguise. Vrug will screw that up. What do you think, Marius?
I don't know.
I'm willing to investigate. Oh. I mean, I guess we need to know, and we're not going to know until we get there how much of a challenge this is. But I got to say, I despise slavers, and if that's what we're looking at, I couldn't use my abilities for a better cause.
I mean, I personally prefer the cause of enlightened self-interest, but this serves that as well. So I agree. So that said, what can you give us? What can you give us to get us started down this road? Then, if we're going to put our asses in these slings, donkeys though they may be, thank you, YouTube. How do we, as one might say, lube our puckered rosebuds?
Gord. The young man kind of gives a crooked grin, shrugs, steps out of the room. He comes back. He's carrying a small coffer. And Geller works the fiendishly complicated-looking lock and says, I like to keep a few accoutrements as necessary. He sets out bottles on the table, healing potions, and I can spare these. He picks up a small velvet bag, empties its contents on his palm. There are 3 rings. He says, these 2, let me see. He pulls one of the rings that he's wearing off and slips it on. And is like, yes, a protective ring, as is this one. This one, any of you can use. It holds a few spells.
A few, you say?
Yes. Magic missile. Rope trick, if you can believe it, and sleep.
No, I know too well how useful rope trick can be. So the rings of protection, hun. And how many potions?
There are 4 potions. He says, now the potions may get consumed or they may not. Consider the protective rings as a down payment. I should like the ring of spell storing back, but I will understand.
Well, I cannot guarantee it would come back with the spells presently in it, so that would rather defeat the purpose, now wouldn't it? As far as anything else goes, man, what I wouldn't kill for some invisibility.
I'm sorry, my friend.
That's fair. That's entirely fair.
I understand the utility of it.
Is there anyone we can go to in town here before we move on?
Oh, as far as trustworthy contacts,
As far as acquiring of magical equipment.
Oh, no, nothing like that here. Anything like that falls straight into the Overlord's hands, and nice bit of spell work at the gate. I shouldn't display such talents again if I were you. You might find yourself as his unwanted guest. The old man that you cast a charm spell upon, give it perhaps a Sendite, and he will be after you for your blood. I'll do my best to delay him.
Indeed. Well, I will take your message to our comrades. I do believe that they will agree to these terms. Well, I'm positive Vrug won't care, but it will take everything we have to have him not cut his way in. As for our halfling friend, he will whine and cajole, but we may be able to drag him kicking and screaming. Or at least before he runs the other way. Marius, I suppose you and I are going to hang ourselves on this?
Sounds like it's a plan to me. I like
All
this.
right.
It sounds like a purpose. And I, aside from the keep, was kind of wandering a bit. So, yeah.
To the glorious dead.
All right. He offers you a drink of very, very fine brandy.
Cool.
Meanwhile, back at the inn, Vrug, you are getting drunker and drunker and drunker. Grimsby.
Yes.
As you're sitting there, kind of looking around the room, there is a well-groomed human who, let's see. He and 2 equally nicely dressed folk walk over, and he sits down next to you and doesn't really regard you. Just sort of gestures, and the innkeeper brings him over a strange looking glass. It's a bulb like a tulip, long, narrow, like fragile looking stem, and a broad circular base to it. And it's full of wine, and he just kind of takes a sip. You can tell he's addressing you. Says, "How's your mother been? Is she doing well? I heard she'd caught a bit of a cold." He is speaking to you in Thieves' Cant.
Yes, and I'll respond in kind about my mother, my dear old granny. Actually, that's how I think that's how Grimsby would talk about it, and just to make some connections and about how I'm looking for some training, passing through, looking for some training.
All right. He raises an eyebrow and says, "You want of a cobbler for a new pair of shoes for your granny? How thoughtful of you. I trust you don't want to spend more than a copper or 2. He's basically telling you you need to
I have a couple coppers to rub between my fingers. Yes, I'll pay what I need to pay.
Good. On Shoal Street, there's a fine copper that I can recommend. A fine cobbler that I can recommend.
Oh, Shoal Street. I will look up that cobbler. See if you've given him if you've said he's good, I'm sure he is.
Yeah. He likes to take his lunch late in the afternoon, so try not to disturb him before then. Basically saying come after midnight.
Okay. Can I get a better idea from this guy how much they're going to take me for?
Yeah, in the back and forth, it's basically going to come down. What level is Grimsby going to?
He's currently 3rd level. He's going to 4th.
Yeah. So, yeah. Yes, the cart was knocked over and 45 apples were spilled. 4,500.
Yeah. Okay. I let him know through Thievescant that I've got that. Perhaps I might have things to trade as well, to instead of simply coin, if that's a thing that they can do.
He raises an eyebrow and says,
"Certain libations, medicinals."
He raises an eyebrow and says, well, don't forget to bring a box of candy. The kids do tend to get a little bit rowdy, and I'm sure they'll want to see something from their old uncle. And pats you on the shoulder, finishes his strange bulb of drink, sort of gestures with his head, and those two leave. Basically, he's telling you that you're going to have to bribe your way into the Thieves Guild also.
Okay, great. Cool.
All right. Good night, Jorge. We'll see you later. So Dooms, what is Varug doing at this? Just plug.
Yeah, that's basically it. Wait until the place livens up for the most part.
Grimsby just had the weirdest conversation with a guy, like his mom and new shoes and apples. He couldn't keep up with it. Who cared? He's a halfling, half a language, half a brain, half a body. You know,
The hair on his feet.
yeah. Hair on his feet. The dandy and his retinue have departed. The place is starting to get lively in the sense that there's a minstrel band playing next to the fireplace. They're playing some crude bawds that would get me demonetized if I tried to sing them. Thank you, Dave. Thank you very much. I enjoy your style of audiencing. So that is where we will go ahead and leave it then. This week. Thank you everyone for being here. Thank you to my players for being here. So sorry that Mobius had robot audio problems and couldn't hang with us. Hopefully he'll resolve that before next time. Big special thanks to Venger, who threw out 2 2s, a 5, and a 10 on the supers tonight. I always appreciate that. Thank you to Cornelius Nulland for joining up, for becoming a member. Everyone salute our new member, Cornelius. Thank you kindly. And I will see everybody tomorrow night. We're going to start looking at the L series. Now, no spoilers if you guys know what modules we might be playing next in this campaign. But until then, again, to Dooms, to Thane, to Mark, and to Kevin, thank you all very much for being here tonight. I do appreciate it. And to the rest of you folks, have an absolutely wonderful evening, and I shall see you all tomorrow. Peace.
Have you seen my owl bear? Here's to all the weirdos everywhere in the woods and in the air. Have you seen my owl bear? Should I shave off all my hair? Bobs are all around. Some live in tunnels underground. Some are fat, some are rich, some are sleeping in a ditch. Can you ride a crooked horse without a saddle way off course? Naked as a toad all the way to Smoky Joe's. Have you seen the little creep driving fast in his little green Jeep? He smells like fish and brandy, but his rotten teeth look dandy. Take me to the show, I don't care if fast or slow. From action flicks to dancing dicks, just take me to the show.